What's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. It's lunchtime, April 19th, and I'm your buddy Choppadong. I'm going to talk a little bit differently about baseball today, and I'm going to try something kind of on the fly. I did a lot of reading this weekend. That's one thing. When you struggle a little bit, when you go through some cold spells and whatever, hopefully that makes your game better. And the reason it makes your game better is hopefully it pisses you off and makes you go searching around the web, finding the latest and greatest information, reading new things, thinking about things different. What can I change? Where am I maybe not getting quite right? And I've been close a lot myself, which is fine, but nothing really big has jumped through. No big nights. I've missed my stacks by a little bit, or if I've had the stack, I've had the wrong pieces, et cetera, et cetera. And that leads me to start really digging in. And when I dig in, I usually come across a couple of new things. And so today, what I want to talk to you about is maybe letting the optimizers steer you in a direction, and then maybe you just kind of pointing the ship either a little bit in a different direction or going overboard in that direction. Because again, DFS today is a lot about leverage. Where is the public going, and do we agree with it or disagree with it? Where's the leverage? Sometimes the leverage, I mean, if the LA Dodgers are just correct, then we want to still be way overweight on them. If they have let's say we've got 6 teams tonight, and the highest chances to smash the slate are the Dodgers at, say, 30%. That's a big chance at smashing the slate if you simulate the slate, 1,000 times. And that's something you should listen to if everybody else is down at like 10%. Yes, there's a 10% chance for St. Louis or Philly or Padres or whatever to smash the slate, and you need to take that into consideration. But let's say that at that 30%, let's say the Dodgers are expensive and they're going to slip a little bit under owned compared to the frequency at which they should smash the slate. You then need to make the adjustment and go overboard on them because they're going to smash the slate more often than their ownership reflects. That's leverage. Same thing. If the Cardinals are a 10% chance to smash the slate and they're only 2% owned or whatever, then they have a higher percentage of smashing the slate. It's not a linear thing, but they have a higher percentage of smashing the slate than their ownership would suggest. So when they do smash the slate, you want to be there because that's going to give you more opportunity to take advantage of the situation. If let's say the Dodgers again only have, say, a 10% chance to smash the slate, because we're on a 20-game slate or something like that, and then they're over-owned because they're in Coors and they're 25, 30% owned, then that's when you're going to want to go underweight and say, wait a second, there's way too many people playing them for the chances that they have to actually do the most damage, so I need to fade that situation and look for another. When you think like that, you're going to take your game to a new level. Here's how we can get an idea of maybe who might be going where on a slate. If I was just to take the optimizer and just run it nude, naked lady, run it naked, like mud flaps on a tractor trailer, right? Just run it straight up naked, 50 lineups, tournament mode, one unique player, bang, no randomness, no nothing, let it eat. And let's see what it does. No stacking, no nothing. And let's see what it does. The teams that appear towards the top are the teams that we are going to want to look towards tonight and start evaluating. Do we want to go up in ownership on them, down in ownership on them? What do we want to do? So as I cruise down this list, I'm going to start looking. I shouldn't probably see, I guess some nights I will see stacks, some nights I won't. Like here, there's a lot of Royals in this one, right? It wasn't mandated, but there's a lot of Royals. There's a lot of Royals in my ownership exposures. There's a lot of Mike Trout. There's a lot of Salvi Perez. Jack Flaherty is the top pitcher, right now. Alberto Benintendi. There's a big stack floating around there in these Royals. You're going to see that in a lot of situations. But if I look at my stacks, nothing's found because I didn't mandate any stacks. I've got a ton of KC, a good bit of LA secondary, and then some others. Okay, so what am I thinking right now? I'm thinking that Kansas City might be in a good spot. I need to check my ownerships on these guys, my ownership ratings, and see, are they going to be chalky? Because we are saying, just raw projections, that they probably are carrying the most value, fantasy points per dollar, and are probably going to be the most effective stack on the night. Now, you may decide, I don't buy it, I want to go 15% tops on them. Or you may say, shit, I love it, I want to go 50%. Whatever your number is, you need to be always considering these ownership projections and going under or over the field based on your thoughts. As of right now, if Kansas City comes back rather under-owned across the industry, then I'm going to go overboard on them. I may not go overboard to the tune of 75 or 80%, but if they're only going to be owned, 10 to 15%, I may be overweight 25, 30, 35%, 40%, whatever. And then supplement in some of my other stacks like the LA Angels, maybe the Dodgers, maybe the whatever, and kind of play the game that way. Okay, so another thing to look at is where are our pitching options? We've got a lot of Flaherty. Based on ownership projection, though, at 21, 31, 41, 18, he's the third or fourth rated or owned. There's some leverage there. We're projecting him higher than probably the industry is based on that ownership projection. So we believe there's some leverage there. That's a situation I'm probably going to take advantage of. I'm probably going to use that in my entry thoughts of, okay, the projections say he's in a good spot. The projections say he's allowing me to build stronger overall lineups using Kansas City or using other stacks. And so if that's the narrative that pans out, that's the narrative I want a bunch of. Now, another thing to do is go up here at the top and come to your hitters, or at least all of your guys, and sort by fantasy points per dollar. What lineups, what guys am I just getting a ton of in my lineups that are, and what's their ownership, right? Like these value guys are going to be pulled by the optimizer quite a bit. So Roman Quinn, Benintendi, Alberto, Trout, McKinney. Trout's an easy one. At 30%, how many lineups of mine did Trout show up in? 100%. So I'm triple the field, right? I'm way over the field here on Mike Trout. I may like that. I may not like that. I may say 30% is so high that I'm never going to be over 30% on any given player. That's my hard cap number. And if Trout bumps up against it, then I'm cutting and I'm fading him because he's going to fail more times than he succeeds. So you need to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to make a significant change to what you do with Mike Trout tonight, because the industry as a whole is going to be on him as one of the chalkier plays of the night, no doubt about it, probably because they're using some cheaper pitchers and they can afford it or whatever, or maybe a cheaper stack like LA or Kansas City or whatever, and then they can afford it. These are the things you need to start thinking about, putting together the pieces of the puzzle in your head, and what, again, is pointing the direction towards where you want to go. Do you want more Mike Trout? Do you want more Salvi Perez? If I come down here and look at some of the cheaper salary guys, there's Alberto, Benintendi, Soler. Where would Roman Quinn be as an outfielder? So if I come down here, hopefully he's got a ton of value, and there he is, 24%. He's carrying no ownership, but at 24%, I'm way over the field if he's in, say, even 5% of lineups. Maybe he's a value play that unlocks some of the Mike Trouts or some of these others, right? Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I want to force the optimizer to find other value plays because I go looking at Roman Quinn and find out he doesn't hit right-handed pitching very well. Or, he's sitting in, where was it? Was it the 8th hole? Projected to bat 8th in the order, and I don't want any of those, lower lineup guys in my. I want high guys. I want somebody who's, where's Sugo at? Tsugo, however you pronounce his name, in Tampa, $2,900 on DraftKings projected to lead off. Maybe I want more of him in my lineup. He's not carrying any ownership as of right now either. So maybe that's the spot where I choose to go overweight instead. It makes more sense. He's going to get that fourth opportunity, fourth at bat a lot more often, obviously, than Roman Quinn is, because all it takes is a walk in the game, and boom, Yoshi's coming up to bat a fourth time, where it takes 7 walks or hits or something for Roman Quinn to get that fourth at-bat. Who's going to get, more importantly, the 5th at-bat faster, right? If there are 9 significant events, hits, walks, hit by pitch, whatever, in a game, flips that lineup over for everybody to bat 4th, well, Tsugo's going to get a 5th at-bat, probably in his game. Certainly going to get there. For every time you drop from the first spot in the lineup down to second, there's an 11% chance drop that you're going to get that 4th or 5th at bat. That's why we focus on the top of the order. When you've got such a limited number of outcomes, in my overall lineup, I may want, I got 9 guys, 2 pitchers, and how many bats? Been a long time since I've actually done this myself, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bats. Maybe you already knew that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 by 4, 5 by 3, 8 bats. So if I could get I'm going to get at least 24 at-bats across this lineup. Is my lineup going to do better or worse than yours over the long run if instead of getting 24 at-bats, I get 50? If I get 50 at-bats across that lineup, I'm going to accumulate more points than you, unless every single one of your dudes hits a home run or something. Because the law of large numbers states the more opportunities to score points I get, the more points I'm going to score. That's why we focus on those top of the order guys, especially in cash games where we want that high floor. We want the low chances of getting a 0 or whatever, and put as much of that in our favor as we possibly can. So I'm going to be focused more on top of the order guys. I probably wouldn't like Roman Quinn tonight. I'd probably focus more on, Yoshi Sugo. I can't pronounce the dude's name, but that's probably where I would be paying a lot of attention if I could, right? If it made sense. If I sort by, salary guys and then go looking for top of the order guys, there's Jace Pearson. Maybe he's a guy that I would focus on. But if I'm not getting pulled into any of my lineups, that may not be where I want to go because the projection may be crap. What I may be more looking forward to is somebody who's pulling into quite a few of my lineups in one of those top spots that provides value. And it may not be bargain basement $2,000, $2,200 guy. It may be a $3,400 guy. But if he's bringing value, that's all that matters. And that's what I'm going to find, because the projections are going to assess a fantasy point per dollar to these players. And I'm going to be paying attention to who's high on this list, right? That's where I'm going to find my, and a lot of it, if the projections are similar across the industry, a lot of the same guys are going to be played, and then your ownerships are going to go up on these guys. But I can start determining. I may take my team stacks and say, I love Kansas City tonight. I want to be overboard on Kansas City tonight. I love the value that Roman Quinn or Yoshi, I'm just calling him Sugo, brings to the table, and I'm going to be overweight on them based on their ownership projections. I may say Mike Trout is expensive. I'm going to be underweight on him. He's being pulled into a ton of my lineups because of the value that the lineup, the optimizer is finding in the Royals, in Flaherty instead of Musgrove, in some of these spots where it's saving money. It's got the money to jam in a Trout. And I may say, well, where I'm going to get different is I'm going to get off of Mike Trout a little bit, and then I'm going to come up in some other areas, maybe another mini stack. Maybe I play Dodgers instead, whatever the case may be. But this is how you can start. You run the optimizer raw. You take a look at what stacks does it like first, and you take a look at see if I went 4 and 5X and just picked up the main stack and ran 50 lineups with not making any other adjustments, you can see I'm 0 to 100% on everybody. Now we'll see where those stacks really call it. We'll already know we're going to see Royals, okay, no matter what we do. So once this pulls in, we'll get a little bit better idea of who we're going to look at and who we're going to take some, I guess, more angles towards tonight. So again, if I go over here and just look at the stacks, and see, look, Woodruff all of a sudden popped up a lot. LA, Kansas City, St. Louis, these are the big stacks right here. That's who I'm seeing the most of. And then the secondary stacks I'm seeing more down in here, Kansas City, Tampa, LA. So I already know how my lineups are going to take effect, and now I should see that across the industry that this is a lot of what everybody else is going to see, because a lot of the projections are going to be pretty close together. The high value spots are going to be the high value spots pretty much across the industry. Now, do I want to use those individual plays and go up or down in them, or do I want to use these stacked teams? Do I want to go up and take on more LA, or do I want to come down and fade LA off? Do I want to come up in Kansas City, come up in St. Louis? I probably can't go down any more in Philly than 6%. So the question really is, do I want to come up? Do I like their chances tonight to smash the slate based on the ownerships that I see? And I can always go through here and sort by team, right? And then start adding up these ownerships, 30%. I would take the pitcher out, but 6, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and about 20 is about 47, about 15 more is about 62. So about 62% total ownership across, these stacks. And I'm way over that number already in the times I'm seeing them show up. I could also come to our MLB leverage stacks and start looking for who's generating the leverage tonight over here and their total ownership there. These are things that I'm going to start doing that are going to start differentiating me from everybody else. And that hopefully shows you how these tools start directing your idea of how you're going to attack a slate. Come in and see us at dfsarmy.com, and let's talk more about getting your game off on the right foot. Peace out, homies. This is Monday. We'll talk to you real soon.